Here are 10 trending and rising projects on GitHub right now. AI website cloner template recreates a live site from a single command, so you can point an AI coding agent at a URL and get a working front end to edit. The workflow seems built around screenshotting and analyzing the page, then generating a Next.js app with components and routes that mirror the layout closely enough to start customizing. I like that it's opinionated about the stack, because the real question is how much cleanup those generated sections need once responsive behavior gets messy. Traffic Lab 3D turns ordinary CCTV video into a 3D traffic scene you can inspect like a lightweight digital twin using just an MP4 and the spot on Google Maps. The workflow is the part I like. You first calibrate the camera against the map, then run detection and tracking on the footage, and only after that does the 3D overlay make sense. It's clearly built for messy real-world footage where you don't have proper calibration data. labelme helps you turn raw images into the labeled training data computer vision projects need. In practice, it gives you a desktop annotation tool where you can draw polygons, boxes, circles, lines, or points, then save the labels in a structured format instead of hand-managing folders and spreadsheets. The part that feels current is the AI-assisted annotation, because it can speed up the boring outlining work while still leaving a human in the loop for cleanup. Flight lets you search Google Flights from a command line, Python script, or an AI assistant and get back structured flight options instead of clicking through the website. The part that stands out is the MCP server. You can wire it into Claude Desktop, ask for routes or date ranges in plain English, and it can call tools for search, filtering, and cheapest date lookup. Underneath, it's talking to Google Flights directly rather than scraping pages, so the workflow stays fast and tabular. CLaude-better is a drop-in Claude command line replacement for people who like the workflow but hate the lag. The pitch is pretty specific. Keep compatibility with the existing CLI while trimming the stuff you feel immediately, like startup time, config loading, command dispatch, and the memory creep that makes long sessions drag. That makes it appealing if Claude already lives in your terminal and you don't want to relearn commands just to get a faster harness. Atlas tunes an AI model while it's being used so it can get better at a specific task without a full retrain. The workflow here is basically run the base model, let Atlas adapt at test time, then measure whether that specialization is worth the extra compute and hardware. I like that it doesn't hide the trade-off, because the quick start and reproduction notes make it pretty clear. This is aimed at K3s or Kubernetes setups with real GPU requirements. openBB gives analysts one place to pull financial data, run research, and feed the same outputs into dashboards or AI workflows. What makes it practical is that it isn't just a charting app or just a Python package. You can query lots of data sources through the platform, use the workspace for exploration, then drop into the CLI when you want something repeatable. That split feels right for teams bouncing between quick investigation and scripted pipelines. Scion lets you run several coding agents on the same project at once, each inside its own container and workspace, so they can work in parallel without trampling each other. The workflow looks pretty hands-on. You initialize a shared project, spin up agents, then manage them like a small team, while Scion keeps their file changes isolated with Git work trees. That separation is the part I like, because multi-agent demos usually get fuzzy right when edits collide. Hive gives you a way to build AI agents around outcomes, so you're defining the job and the checks around it, not just hoping a prompt works. The workflow looks pretty practical. Spin up an agent, use the starter templates, then run it through a harness that tests whether it actually completes the task. That framing matters because once agents need tools, memory, and retries, you really want evaluation baked in instead of bolted on later. Continue turns AI code review into something you can version with your repo and actually enforce in CI, so teams can write custom checks instead of hoping people remember a prompt. The workflow seems pretty practical. Install the CLI, define the rules you want, then run them locally or in pull requests, where the same checks can block merges. I like that it treats AI feedback more like linting with judgment, though the real test is how noisy those checks get on messy code bases. Subscribe to Build Things with AI for more GitHub AI tool roundups.